What's up, 226 students? How are y'all doing today? Thank you so much for joining us for the Storyteller Part 4. I wanted to ask you guys a question. It might be a little bit touchy, you don't have to say anything out loud, but just think about the last time that someone hurt you or offended you or made you angry or anything like that. The last time you were upset with someone. Just think about how you felt. Think about what was going through your mind, and how you wanted to act versus how you did, or maybe that was the same thing. I have a story I want to read to you in the book of Matthew, chapter 18, and it is chapter 18, verse 23 through 35. It says, "For this reason, the kingdom of heaven can be compared to a king who wanted to settle accounts with his slaves. When he began to settle accounts, one who owed 10,000 talents was brought before him. Since he had no way to pay it back, his master commanded that he, his wife, his children, and everything he had be sold to pay the debt. At this, the slave fell face down before him and said, 'Be patient with me, and I will pay you everything.' Then the master of that slave had compassion, released him, and forgave the loan. But that slave went out and found one of his fellow slaves who owed him 100 denarii. He grabbed him, started choking him, and said, 'Pay what you owe.' At this, the fellow slave fell down and began begging him, 'Be patient with me and I will pay you back.' But he wasn't willing. On the contrary, he went and threw him into prison until he could pay back what was owed. When the other slaves saw what had taken place, they were deeply distressed and reported to their master everything that had happened. Then, after he had summoned him, his master said to him, 'You wicked slave, I forgave you all the debt because you begged me. Shouldn't you have also had mercy on your fellow slave as I had mercy on you?' And his master got angry and handed him over to the jailers to be tortured until he could pay everything that was owed. So my heavenly Father will also do to you if each of you does not forgive his brother from his heart." Now, that's kind of an interesting story. One guy owes 10,000. And his master, justly so, is like, "Hey, you need to pay me my money back. And since you haven't done that yet, we're going to take what you owe. We're going to take all your stuff." But the guy begs his master, "Lord, please have mercy on me. Please have patience with me and let me pay you back as I can." And his master was like, "Yeah, okay." He had compassion. He's like, "I'll do that." He even forgave him of the loan, is what it said. But then he goes to a fellow slave, someone who's in the same boat as him, and says, "You owe me 100 denarii, so pay me now or else." And he had just been forgiven of this huge loan. He goes to his fellow slave, like I said, someone who's in the same boat as him, and expects him to pay up right then from this much smaller thing. And instead of having mercy on him or something so much smaller, he has him thrown in jail, and then gets his just desserts from it. I don't know about you, but for me, forgiveness can be something that's pretty difficult sometimes. It can be something that I don't want to extend all the time. It can be something that I don't feel like they deserve. But the reality is, when you don't forgive someone, the person who's affected more is you. Whenever you hold that in your heart and you hold on to that bitterness or that anger, it starts affecting you more than it's affecting them. It starts changing you on the inside instead of affecting what they're going through as much. And I understand it can be difficult because you may feel like, well, if I forgive them, I'm justifying what they did, or I'm just accepting it, or I'm okay with it, and that's not the case. Instead, you're letting go of you're letting go of what's holding on to you. The pain that you felt, or the anger, the sadness, whatever the case was. You're letting that go, and so it starts to release from you and doesn't have effect on you anymore. It's really more for you than it is for the other person, and so I think it's incredibly important to ask for forgiveness if you have done something to someone else, if you've wronged someone or made someone else upset, it's important to ask for forgiveness. But it's, I would say, it's one of the most important things that you can do to make it a point to be someone who is forgiving, to be someone who is slow to anger, who doesn't hold grudges, because ultimately you're going to pay the price for that and not them. And so, this week as things happen, because things are going to happen. If you drive, people are going to cut you off in traffic, Instead of being angry and upset about that, just letting it go and you know what, it's okay, it's all right, no one had a wreck. Or maybe if you work with someone that, did something that made you angry, just, let it go and say, you know what, that's all right. Thankful to be working and have a job, or whatever the case is. Maybe it's your sibling, your, younger or older sibling, brother, sister. I know my little sister drives me crazy sometimes, so, I know that. I know how that can feel. But I encourage you, throughout this week, really look for ways to extend forgiveness to someone, and when you do something, to ask for forgiveness. A lot of times people will give it when you ask for it.